Today's webinar is about how we can bring that external media into a Fathom report. The team today, you've got myself hosting today's webinar. I'm Dan Murphy-Moore, an account executive within Fathom, and I work for the EMEA region. And we also have Darren Glanville on today's webinar. Darren will be monitoring the chat and the Q&A box throughout today's webinar, and he'll also be taking us through the product and showcasing our new feature, which we're extremely excited about to show you. So the agenda for today, we are going to have a look at the problem we found, and perhaps we're going to then roll into some of the challenges that you may be familiar with. We of course are going to look at how Fathom helps with this, and then at the end we will spend a little bit of time, just a live Q&A to have your questions through to us. So my first question and my first bit of engagement for yourselves, please, is how confident are you that your reports give clients and stakeholders enough clarity and context currently? So it looks like perhaps a large proportion of us are somewhat confident, but perhaps room to improve, and there's others that are perhaps not confident, and some are really confident. And that is common feedback we do find. So that does fall in line with the problems we often hear. And some of these may be the clients and stakeholders are simply expecting more from their monthly reporting. They perhaps need more to look further than just financial data. They want greater insights across a much broader scope. We also hear producing these monthly reports are just simply taking far longer than they need to. And we also heard that insights are found across different systems and internal analysis, not always found in one place. And that leads us on to perhaps some of the challenges you may be familiar with, and that came from manual report compilation. So what we found is clients were having to stitch together multiple documents from various different platforms, and this of course is very time consuming. We also found that managing multiple file attachments and sending your clients a flurry of separate documents also was time consuming, but also potentially led to lost documents. We also found that clients were struggling to present this data to your clients in a very digestible and a very clear way. And that's where Fathom can assist with that professional presentation and perhaps offer you the ability to incorporate external data. A huge one, of course, is client and stakeholder satisfaction, perhaps inability to meet diverse client requirements to build out a fully comprehensive report. So what if you could deliver a single report that simply includes operational and financial insights? And that's very much where Fathom comes in. An efficient and quality report with operational and financial insights. Fathom offers you a streamlined workflow. A single platform for all reporting simply reduces your tool switching and complexity. It also offers you the opportunity to tell your clients a complete story by incorporating financial data, operational metrics, and bringing this data to life with our visual elements, and of course supporting documentation in one comprehensive report. It also increases your client retention. By producing these beautiful reports, you're also able to increase satisfaction through the reports and meet further requirements. And of course, why not differentiate yourself from your competitors who perhaps are using basic reporting tools or fragmented solutions? At this point in the webinar, there may be a few viewers that are perhaps completely new to Fathom and perhaps not fully understanding what we do. So let me just take a quick 20 seconds just to explain what Fathom is. Fathom is an all-in-one business performance tool for reporting, forecasting, and analysis. How it works is we take your data from your accounting system and we bring that data to life using insightful dashboards, building out beautiful reports in a very timely manner for yourselves, but also offering the ability to forecast for your clients and look at future projections and really build some value. It's so easy to get started, stay connected, and simply get more out of your clients' data. So let me go into a bit more about reports of images and PDFs. This offers you the opportunity to, like I say, to consolidate multiple data sources, bring financial, operational, and external content into one comprehensive report, eliminate manual reporting tasks, create professional reports in minutes instead of days formatting work. of course, embed visual content seamlessly, insert dashboards, PDFs, and charts while preserving original formatting. And of course, build reusable report templates. Set up automated reports that are branded and simply update with current data, no longer having to find that data or cross-reference it with other systems. Over to Darren, who is going to take us through the product.
Thanks for the introduction. Welcome, everyone. If you're a finance professional tired of juggling multiple platforms and sending clients a bundle of disconnected reports, you're in the right place. In today's session, I'll show you how to build comprehensive professional management reports directly in Fathom, bringing together financial, operational data, and external content into one seamless report. By the end of this, you'll know how to create the templates, insert content, and genuinely impress your clients and boards with the information that matters. Let's dive in. As we've just heard, finance teams are drowning in fragmented reporting chaos. You've got dashboards in your CRM, spreadsheets in Excel, data in your accounting software, and even PDFs from various sources. Every board meeting or investor presentation becomes a frantic scramble, exporting CSVs, reformatting Excel files, stitching together screenshots, and manually contextualizing data across 5, 10, 15 different documents. What should take minutes burns hours of your time. The solution? In the next few minutes, I'm just going to be sharing with you how you can, with Fathom, use that as your single source of truth. Attach or embed visual files, whether it's a HubSpot dashboard, an Excel file, or indeed an organization chart or a PDF report directly into your management reports. No more export import gymnastics, no more formatting nightmares. One comprehensive report that combines financial data, operational metrics, and external content, board ready in minutes, not days. Stop being a data janitor and start being a strategic advisor. So for many of you, this screen will be very familiar. This is the main Fathom dashboard. This is what you see after you log in, and this is where you will see either all of the clients that you have subscribed to Fathom on behalf of, if you're an accountant or as a business, all the businesses that you have subscribed to for Fathom. And it's very easy for us to add clients to Fathom. Many of you will have done this previously. It's simply a case of us clicking on add, clicking on company, choosing the appropriate data source, be that QuickBooks, Xero, MYOB if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, Sage 50 or Sage Business Cloud, or if you have a data source that isn't one of the supported that you see in front of you, you can even use Excel. We provide you with a few templates that you can bring that data in via Excel. So it's very easy for you to add your business or your clients to Fathom. So as many of you may have noticed, or the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed, you will see that I also have a consolidation company here. You can also set up consolidation and benchmarking groups within Fathom. To do that, you just need to have your underlying entities already imported into Fathom, and then click on add and then create your consolidated group or benchmark group. We can cover that off at a separate time, but if you do want more information, please just drop the words consolidation or benchmark into the chat, and we can provide you with some links and resources and reach out to you with more information on that following today's webinar. One thing I will point out is that once you've added your and connected your client into Fathom or your business into Fathom, you'll be taken into our settings area. So if I just quickly dive in here and show you what you will see, you can see I've got the underlying data source shown with the appropriate tag, showing you where the data source is coming from, the date range that's being imported, and you can import up to 8 years worth of data within to Fathom. If you are using tracking categories within Xero or classes within QBO, QuickBooks Online, you can also import your tracking categories or classes. And again, within that, you can also specify which, if not all, that you wish to bring through into Fathom. You'll notice that this is automatically updating every day. So again, it's running a routine overnight around 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time that will update that data. So when you come in tomorrow, you can be assured that you're always looking at the latest data. If you do wish to make a change in your source accounting system and see that recognized within Fathom, again, you can make that change in your underlying data and then click on this gray button here, clicking to update from your source system, and that will bring that and update that into Fathom rather than you waiting overnight for the next automatic refresh. You can also see here that we have also imported some of our accounts receivable and accounts payable information from the source system as well, and that's available for both QuickBooks and Xero. And if there was a budget sitting in that system, we can also bring that through as well. If not, I can create one from scratch here, and that can also be the basis of your forecast. If you do want to bring through any non-financial data, and again, this is one of the powerful features of Fathom, is it allowing you to connect to other sources or have other sources information come in using import tools. If you're using G Sheets, for example, you can connect your G Sheet to Fathom, and as that G Sheet gets updated, it will bring that information dynamically into Fathom. If you're using Excel or Office 365, you can click on the button here to add your results and then browse to that file and click on import. It's literally 2 clicks and you've got that information coming through. So again, you'll see that as we go through, but that could be your website traffic. It could be your Google Analytics data. It could be some sales data that you're pulling in from your CRM if you want to bring it through actually into Fathom rather than just embedding the data as an image within Fathom reports. But again, I'll come back onto that a little later. I do want to highlight KPIs because KPIs are a really good way for businesses to measure on a more frequent basis rather than waiting to the end of a month to have that report produced for them. You can actually log into Fathom under the analysis section and see your KPIs, again, how they're working through the months depending on that data and how it's refreshing. So how does it work? Well, we give you a series of standard KPIs that you can get started with. You don't have to use them; they are there. You can choose to turn them on or off. But if you'd rather create your own, it literally is a couple of clicks to create your own custom KPIs. And a really good example of this that I've worked with many businesses is just adding in maybe a revenue per employee KPI. So the first thing we need to do is create a data point here that captures the number of employees we have on a monthly basis. And again, that could come through from non-financial data, so we can measure that. We can even set targets against our KPIs. And then once we've done that, we can effectively just come down and create a formula KPI where we say revenue divided by the number of employees that we have here, and that will give us our revenue per employee. And again, we can set targets against those. If we want to use budgets, we can do that as well. If that's tied to P&L, we can use a budget coming in from that, or I could set a target. And again, very easy for us to measure and monitor what's going on. But speaking of budgets, one of the things that we said at the very beginning was if we have that budget in the source data, we can import that through into Fathom, and that will give us the ability to produce comparative data in terms of actual versus budget. If we don't, there's a couple of ways in which we could bring that in. As I said, we could connect to our data source, import that through, or use the Excel budget template within Fathom. The other way that we could look at is actually using our forecasting area to start that budget process off. And again, we can simply click on Let's Get Started and click on Custom Forecast. And so absolutely, once clicking in here, you can see that actually what I'm doing is I can use the actuals from last year to drive from the revenue and cost of sales and expenses to drive my forecast going forward. So fairly easy for me to see that as well. So let's dive out of there and I'll go into my other company. And if I just go into AuroraSoft, again here, you can see that forecast information. I can change that into my year, and I can just sanity check how I'm using last year's numbers to give me the baseline of my forecast going forward. Simple, straightforward, and effective. Again, if you are interested in any more information about forecasting, please just drop the word forecasting into the chat and we can get back to you with more information about how Fathom can help you with your three-way forecasting as well. Okay, let's dive into reporting. So here you can see I'm looking at AuroSoft. I'm just going to hover my mouse over the client, and you can see that reports now becomes available for me. If I click in here, the first thing I want to point out for you is that navigation has now moved to the left-hand side. You can see here I've got my draft reports and also an option to look at any published reports that I may have already completed. But on the left-hand side, you can see I've got my report area, I've got my area for templates, and I've also got the area for schedules. And again, if I have any reports I'm exporting to Excel, I will see them here. So all the navigation is now done down the left-hand side. To create a report, we can simply click on create a report here. We will have the option to choose to be able to start from scratch, or I can use one of the templates that is already within Fathom. I'll come back onto that at the moment, but let's start a report from scratch and see how simple this can be for you to get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is give my draft report a name. So let's call this September webinar report. I do apologize. I'm multiple fingers when I go to typing. I know that we're reporting on the month of July 25, but I'm going to do this in a portrait orientation. You could, of course, choose landscape, and I'm just going to go into here, and you can see this is a blank report. Again, keeping that navigation down the left-hand side, we have options to insert components that are text-based, charts, tables and financials, media and files, and also layouts as well. I'll also spend a little bit of time talking about how you can customize your report headers and your cover pages as well to make them hyper personalized for your practice or for your clients or your business. But you can see here that we have the ability to start report off in the right way. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do now, having created my report name, is come into this section, and I'm going to rename that the Executive Summary section. Now, beneath that, you can see I also have very similar functions to those on the left-hand side, where I can add text, add charts, financials and tables, and files and media. So I'm just going to add text. I'm going to add a block of text underneath there, and rather than keep you waiting while I spend hours using my very primitive typing methods, I'm just going to cut and paste for brevity the section that I've already prepared for today's webinar, and I'll drop that in here. And we can see that the Q3 performance is stronger, showing strong momentum across all those business units. But I also want to show you that we can actually add in placeholders, and placeholders are exactly that. It's where we can say, for example, the revenue for current month or last month, because generally we prepare this for the first few days following month end, was, and if I type at revenue, you can see it brings up some links where I can actually bring in the total. And again, if you have tracking categories, we can bring that in as well. But I'm just going to say company total, and I'm going to say this month because the report is for July, and I want to bring in actuals, which varies from prior month. See, I told you about my typing, so bear with me. From prior months, which was, and if I again go a revenue, at this point, and I want to go company total last month of June actuals, we can see that. Now, that may seem super simple, but again, if we save this report as a template and we're rolling it forward and we save that, it's going to save us so much time because it's just automatically going to update the numbers from the month that we've just completed, pull in the numbers from the prior month, and have that information ready to us. This is where we can start to really be powerful in the amount of times that we're saving with our production and of management reports. Now, the other thing I want to do at this point, if I just move my mouse off that, is I want to introduce our very first image. So I'm going to go to Files and Media, and I'm going to actually import a dashboard that's coming out of our CRM system that I've just literally took a screenshot of, and I want to insert that image into my report because it's giving me additional context. So if I just come in there, I just want to bring that in. You can see I'm adding that into my report. And there is the image of my sales dashboard giving me the executive summary. It's showing me we've got a healthy pipeline, our conversions are being hit, our sales director's over the moon. The board will have a much easier time digesting that because, again, we're not having to worry about some of the cognitive load of understanding some of the data that we're presenting to them. If we wanted to write a little bit of a précis about that as well, we could certainly do that without a problem, whatever. It's a really simple thing for us to do. And we can keep doing that throughout the other sections of the report. So let's now move on to the financial section of the report. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm now just going to add in another section. I'm going to call this the financial performance selection. And as before, I'm going to drop a little bit of text in to add in here. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And again, just to provide you with some context, I'm not going to spend hours typing this out, but I want you to imagine that this business is involved in the sale of alcohol, some beers and some IPAs. And what's going to be happening is that they've seen some strong margin analysis, some real improving unit economics across some of their individual product lines, and that's come out of another system. So what I'm going to do is import some of their metrics from that. So we're going to look at some margin analysis that they've been doing. So files and folders. I'm going to insert a file this time because this is a PDF as opposed to an image. And I'm just going to browse to that file, which is here. And it's an inventory analysis that we've pulled out of their stock system. So we're just opening that up. We can embed that. And obviously, just a little difference here between PDF pages being embedded or attached. PDF pages that are displayed directly within the report when downloaded, so we can see them. And attached, you'd have to see them as a separate file. They are included in the report page, but they're available as a downloadable file attachment at the end. So I'm just going to click on Add. We're going to see that file get embedded, and there's the file itself. If I wish to view that PDF, you can see it's actually now opening that up for me. We can see that, but I'm just going to drop that down back to my my page here. And again, so you can see that we can download that, we can view, we can download that should we need to, but we can actually view it from live within the system here. So I'm just going to come down to my next area and start building some more financial analysis. So again, we've added that in. But what I want to do now is add in some tables. So I'm just going to do maybe a monthly P&L. I'm just going to come over here. You can see I've got my profit and loss. So I'm just going to drop this in here. I told you I was terrible at typing. But you can see this is a monthly performance report. So I want to actually bring in some of the quarter information. So again, by ticking on the edit option, I now open up some of the other information I can see on the right hand side here in terms of columns and rows. You will also notice that I can see here don't want to look at both financial statements. I just want to view the profit and loss, but I could show both financial statements individually, the profit and loss balance sheet, or the cash flow statement. I just want to show the profit and loss at this point, and I want to bring in some additional information, such as not just last month. I want to look at 2 months prior, so I get a full view over the quarter. Maybe look at the budget for this month. If there was one, there isn't one for last month, so let's take those off. But what I will do is I want to look at the same month last year and the same month 2 years ago as comparative data. Again, if I want to introduce any variance to that, maybe to next month, maybe to the same month last year, I can have that all coming through and append into those columns as well. And I'm going to save those changes. And there's my profit and loss with my embedded margin inquiry and also the exec summary at the top of that section, ready to be reviewed by my board. So the other thing that I'm just going to do here is, again, just embed a file here. Now, this is an image that we're going to bring through. It's from an Excel file, and it's just a loan repayment schedule that I want to attach as an image. I've taken that image from Excel, but again, you can see that that's there. We can add that in as a file. And to save time, I've just built out a couple of the other sections for us as well. Now in here, what I've got is the operational metrics section. Again, what I'm doing here is I've imported the files in, the images in from my CRM system. So again, you can see that the sales funnel has been looking really positive, and I've got a couple of dashboards here that I'm embedding, but when I'm doing the report, obviously they've come through side by side, but I'm not really sure that one of them is going to give me all of that. So I'm just going to move that down. We're going to move those across, make it a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to see. Again, just making sure that the information is conveyed and it's not too taxing on the person reviewing that data, but it's something that's familiar to them as well. And I've also put in here an organizational update section. So this particular business went through a few structural changes, and what I'm going to do here is add in an organization chart of the work that we did with them around that. So I'm just going to add in the organization chart to, again, visualize the new structure that we've put in place and why things are actually performing really well for them at the moment. And finally, in this report itself, we're going to move on to the cash management section. So within here, there's a couple of things that I want to highlight for you. As I said, it's literally about making sure that we're putting the right components into the report that we want to show. Now, this could be charts, and again, we could have various charts. You can see here I can choose KPI charts, revenue charts. There's over 100 different chart types that you can pull into Fathom for your customers. But I really want to focus on the cash management section. So in here, for example, one area that I want to do is focus on things like working capital. So again, this information can be presented from a table that we're doing in here in terms of maybe the KPIs around cash flow. So again, I'm getting my working capital feeding through. The other section that I may want to bring in here is maybe some data from our APAR that we've pulled in from Xero or for QuickBooks. So again, I can come into here, we can come down to accounts receivable, and I can bring in my accounts receivable data. We can cross-check that. This looks like everything's overdue, so I may want to look at my source data around that and make sure it's up to date. But the additional thing I can do here as well is if I want more details, I could log into Xero on this. I could log into my reports. I could look into my accounts payable summary, and then I could actually export that from that report as a PDF. That goes up into my my system here. So what I'll do is I will now go back into Fathom, and I'm going to import that file If I go to File PDF, I can pull in my AP PDF into Fathom as well. And again, if I want to view that, you can see that that file from Xero is there as an attached PDF. So we can certainly do that. I can also insert my cash flow waterfall chart, which everyone likes to see, so we can see the cash movements and my net cash flow position. And I'm also almost ready to complete my report. So the report is there. What we want to do is personalize this, and this was something that we saw at the very beginning. So a couple of things we're going to do here is I'm just going to click on Edit Header, and you can see we've got two options. One is to the online view and also to the print view as well. Now, what I can do here is I can change that to the logo of the company. If I want to, we could go for an image fill if we wanted to. For the online, I may not want to do that, so just no fill, but we'll go for the logo. However, for the print version, we don't really want it sort of saying Fathom on there. What I want is to make sure we either have the logo, which can do that, or what we could actually go for is something a little more personalized. So I'm going to turn the logo off, and I'm going to go for an image fill. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to browse to the file that I have saved, which is my JPEG design for Aurasoft. I'm going to bring that through. We've got image fill. I'm going to say full height and no logo. I'm not going to show the date of publishing, but you can see there's the title with the customer's logo embedded in that report. I'm going to apply those changes. And if I do produce that for PDF or printing, that's exactly how it's going to look in front of the client. And again, you can see how simple it is to add that. And that's just a quick report cover that I literally ran up in Canva in about 3 to 5 minutes. Not very long at all to do that, but can be hyper personalized. Once we've got that report, we can see it here. We have a couple of options here. And one of the options is I can now save that as a template. And that also gives me the opportunity to share that with other clients in my practice. We can share that across the practice with other users. I could publish that report if I'm happy with it, and then use that as the basis going forward. So let's save that as a template. I just want to call that Aurasoft template. And what I can also do is if I come into schedules, I can now create a schedule to produce that to a draft report using that Aurasoft template. And I can say if we're doing this monthly or quarterly, let's say monthly. Let's assume that we close the month down on generally within the first 7 days of the month. So certainly by day 10, I want to automatically produce that next monthly management report to a draft status and let X number of people know when that report is ready. I can create that schedule, and then next month it will automatically run that schedule for you. So let's summarize exactly what we've been through today in this very fast whistle-stop tour of Fathom. We've shown you how you can create management reports that are meaningful, containing the right information. We've shown you how to embed and attach files. A couple of things about the files that I think are really important for this is one of the key benefits that we see with this is the benefits is about credibility. It's about maintaining the original data formatting that stakeholders and boards know and trust, especially if that data is in other systems. It can include, obviously, if you're bringing that data in as an image, it can include the platform-specific insights, again, trends, anomalies, and comparisons that could get lost when you look at a raw data export, and it's often lost in those raw data exports. It uses interfaces, as I've said, that teams recognize immediately. Therefore, it reduces the cognitive load on those individuals. I'm just going to go back into my reports here and we'll see that. So it will reduce the cognitive loads because they're recognizing immediately what they're seeing in front of them. It also preserves, I think this is one of the key features, it preserves complex visualizations. We've all heard pictures say 1,000 words, and it provides the additional context that we need to be able to make decisions on that as well. So Fathom is really taking it to the next level for you and allows you to do that. You've just seen how to create those reports within Fathom. No more stitching, no more apologizing for incomplete packages, just professional, complete deliverables your stakeholders will actually read and act upon. Start with your next board report. If I can give you one call to action, pick one report, one PDF, one image, and build from there. The time saved on your first report alone will justify it. It's so easy to do, and the output is really, really beautiful. I will hand back to my colleague. I hope you've enjoyed the session this morning. If you do want sessions on consolidations, benchmarking, forecasting, drop those into the chat. But with that, thank you for your attention, and I will hand you back right now. Thank you.
And thank you for handing me back down. It was a really great demo and I hope everyone enjoyed it. So just to summarise what we've seen today, Darren has shown us how easily Fathom integrates with an accounting software systems to bring that data in. He's also shown us how we can start to drive those conversations with your clients surrounding their KPIs and their goals, whether that be you use Fathom's default KPIs or you start to build on this with more formula and more granularity. He's also shown us how we integrate with a system that simply pulls that data daily. You don't have to go and cross-reference this, it'll just pull directly in from the system. Darren's also shown us how we can, again, in the interest of saving you time, can insert placeholders that simply update, pulling them from the accounting system. Again, no longer cross-referencing. He's also shown us how we can effectively utilize the new media reports and bringing in CRM data and that operational data alongside PDF reports as well. And of course, he's highlighted how we can adapt our Fathom reports to really customize them to your clients and add that extra touch, bringing in logos, branded headers, and creating print-ready outputs. I also like how he's shown us how we can utilize the templates and also schedules as well. So thank you for that, Darren. That does shortly bring us to our live Q&A, and it's great to see how many people have asked questions in there. But my last poll comes, how likely following today's demo would you be to include images and PDFs into your Fathom reports? And the poll should be up any moment. And again, as much feedback as possible in here would be great. And that should be live on your screens within the right hand side. That's great to see the answers coming in, and both very positive as well. Some of you think you will in time, and some perhaps absolutely. And that's exactly why we brought this feature out. It was our #1 requested feature from our customers across the last 12 months. The ability to build those reports in one place and stop having to go across different systems. We'll let this poll run for another 30 seconds or so, just to see if we have any more answers. But again, it's a very nice split there across the bottom two answers. Perfect. I think that's everyone, and thank you. And it sounds like today's session has been really worthwhile. So in terms of the last bits, we just want to finish on a live Q&A. And like I say, it's great to see so many questions coming in and the engagement we've had. So I will just run to the questions. So one of the questions is, can Google Sheet spreadsheets be a data source? So the good news is that the development team are currently working on this. But at the moment, if it wasn't from an accounting system, we can bring in data from Excel, but the Google Sheet connection is something we're working on. There is another question surrounding AI within, are we connected to any AI tools? So at the moment, again, the great news is the development team are in the process of bringing out AI commentary. So the ability to bring this into the commentary of the reports, to analyze that data, and again, in the interest of saving you time, bringing that data to life without having to manually type it. Another question from Candice is can you analyze actuals against forecast? So yes, absolutely. And I think Darren hinted it within the demo. We can use Fathom's forecasting tool to build out a budget. And you can simply save that forecast as a budget, which then will offer you comparisons throughout Fathom of reporting versus actuals versus budget. Another new feature that we do have being released shortly will be the opportunity to actually offer actuals versus budget versus forecast, and that would be called forecasted snapshots. We have another question surrounding the non-financial KPIs. And again, I think Darren highlighted there's a few different ways to do this. We can, of course, manually bring these in, but we do have some integration there as well. We have integration with Excel, and we also have a direct integration with Google Sheets to bring this data in. The idea behind that is as you update the Google Sheet, it automatically pulls into Fathom, which automatically pulls into your reports from there. Productive isn't something I'm aware of that will be a new integration as of yet, but again, it's something we can always feed back to the development team. Let me just go to a few more questions. Again, I'm keen to get through as many as we can here. Can you bring in a calculation in the report, revenue versus movement from last month? Hopefully you did see within the reporting element when Darren went through the P&Ls, that Fathom very easily allows you to offer some comparison and variance in there, pulling in whether that be monthly data, quarterly or yearly, and offering a comparison of this month versus last month, whether that be in currency or percentage as well. Another question from Candice, thank you for being so engaged, is can you report separately on areas within a business, i.e. different departments, cost centres, and perhaps divisions would come under that as well? So yes, I think Darren did highlight it at the start of the demo that we can bring in tracking categories alongside the financials. And within Fathom's reporting, we can also filter by division and build out reports based on this. And Candice, we're more than happy to send you some stuff across on this to show you how this can be presented. Neil's asked, what would you recommend as a workflow to update the qualitative comments in the exec summary as efficiently and effectively as possible? It seems to be a manual process. So at the moment, the way I would suggest doing it is using the placeholders Darren showed us. So simply, rather than putting a specific month in, i.e. September, put this month versus last month and use the placeholders to automatically obtain their metrics. Again, not having to go cross-reference these. That way, if you put this month and last month, it should fall very much in line with the report that we see at the top in the title there. However, as mentioned previously, the team are working at bringing out AI commentary, which of course would fix that and do it far more efficiently for you. Perhaps we'll go through the last couple of questions. I'm keen to put some time back in your day. Are there any plans for Fathom to offer weekly reporting capabilities? Whilst it has been mentioned, I believe it's not something for the foreseeable currently, or it's not imminent, I know that. And I believe that is all the questions we've got. Let me just double check, make sure we've covered everything. Yes, I've seen one. Could I have a recording of the webinar, please, Stephen? Absolutely, this will be sent to everyone who's registered today, so don't worry. Neil, AI commentary, yes, please. Yes, exactly. This would be a game-changing feature, and it's something the development team are working on, releasing hopefully very, very soon. In terms of that, it looks very much like we've covered all questions today. Like I say, thank you very much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed it. And like I say, we're extremely excited to show everyone the new feature, which is just going to seamlessly enable you to build these reports out in one software and one report. And absolutely everyone who's commented today, we will get the information across to you in terms of forecasting and reporting. So again, thank you for joining us today. A big thanks from myself, a big thanks from Darren, and do get in touch if you need anything or any questions. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you. Take care.